Perfect movie award right off the bat, because I spent the entire movie worried that Aunt Lucy, turning 100, was going to die before she ever got to see London. But she didn't, and she got to see London, which is more than I can say for myself. But one day. So what is Paddington 2 about? Well, if you didn't see Paddington 1, I do suggest you watch Paddington 1. But it's a little bear. He's from Peru, and he loves marmalade sandwiches, and he lives with the Browns. Well, he has an Aunt Lucy, who is also a bear, who lives at the home for retired bears in Peru. And Aunt Lucy always wanted to go to London, but she didn't get the chance before she got really old. And her 100th birthday is coming up. And so Paddington went to his friend, who is Jim Broadbent, which, if you don't know who Jim Broadbent is, he is the original Harold Zidler from Moulin Rouge. So Harry Zidler had a famous pop-up book that was like one of a kind, and it showed all the coolest places in London. And he's like, well, if I get that for my Aunt Lucy, it'll be like she went to London. But it's like, because it's one of a kind, it's like stupid expensive, like £1,000, which I think is like 1,200 American dollars. Anyway, he's a tiny bear, so obviously he doesn't have like £1,000. So he takes up jobs. He works in a barber shop, and he washes windows, and he washes dogs. He's generally just making the neighborhood a nicer place. Well, then like this fair/circus comes around, and fucking Hugh Grant, being Hugh Grant, had to cause chaos. And he stole the book. And Paddington tried to stop him, but he has magic, and he disappeared. And then Paddington got blamed for the book being stolen, and they sent him to prison for 10 years. Like Shawshank. But like, how are you going to convict Paddington for theft if the object is not on him? I mean, you could do breaking and entering, but I feel like that's a much smaller offense. Is it? Well, I don't know, because Harold Zidler wouldn't have pressed charges, I don't think. But hell, you can't even charge somebody with murder without a body. And nobody did any kind of character witnessing, because the entire neighborhood would have told them he was saving up for the book. And he has no prior convictions. What kind of legal system does England have? I thought we made a step up since Sweeney Todd. But whatever. Anyway, so Paddington has to go to prison, but he makes friends. He teaches the cook how to make marmalade, and all the prisoners are becoming pastry chefs, and they're making the prison a better place. And really, they are becoming rehabilitated. He makes a bunch more friends, but then they have to do an escape so that he can prove that he's innocent. Meanwhile, the Browns are doing what they can to prove that Paddington is innocent, and they do. I do have a little bit of concern because we don't know what the other prisoners in there with Paddington have actually committed, but they're also escaping prison. Like, I don't remember hearing what Knuckles actually did to get into prison. He could have murdered somebody, or a lot of people. I think they have to board like the circus train so they can stop Hugh Grant from stealing the pop-up book and also bring him to justice. And fucking Mrs. Bird tells him point blank, don't bring a knife to a gunfight, and tries to pull a firearm on him. Except it only shoots darts. But she was willing. That lady was ready to risk it all for that tiny bear cub. But then part of the train falls off into the river, and Paddington is stuck in there, and Mrs. Brown tries to rescue him, but he nearly drowns. But then he gets safe, and his name is cleared, and everybody sees him, and then you'll never guess who shows up at the front door. Aunt Lucy. She gets to see London and Paddington. The end. I think I like this one significantly more, mostly because it's not terrifying children with the idea of taxidermy. Also, I kind of want to try to make marmalade. Okay, bye. I should have been there on a Sunday morning, hanging my head. I don't know the rest of the words.